Suddenly, the last couple of years, a different version of that real set best machinery. And I wonder how that Skoda compares. He's driving it. We weren't necessarily expecting him to be in the Skoda today. It's a relatively late swap, and he's right at the top of the order. So he will be adapted to more and more time spent in the car, he'll get more and more comfortable, and that'll be concerning for everybody else. It's the rally today. Yeah, I've got is that one, Ian Morgan and Chris Lees, currently sitting 6th in the rally. 13 seconds off of Gary Pearson and Ross Kirk actually, but quite a way off the lead now of course as Max McRae been extending it. What they've got they can find 18 20 seconds exiting six left and going up onto the hillside, which is great to see on spectators here on the inner of Knockhill Pearson the first to attack that hillside this time round, and notably both himself and Max McRae were properly off. Carry more momentum and he's a bit more sideways through the left-hander at the bottom of the hill before moving up. How's Max McRae? Also far neater actually, so whether that's the slicks offering them more grip or indeed if they are before it led into the hairpin there. It seems to tighten his line forward nonetheless, don't get me wrong, he carried an awful lot of speed through there. I'm not sure he lost anything more than a tenth or two, but it's the sort of thing that a driver of Max's calibre will have been aware of, I reckon, and whether or not we shall see as he does indeed light up all four wheels going through the S-bend at the top of the hill, down the slight dip, into the left, rises and disappears behind the trees for the flowing section that Gary Pearson himself has just completed, and he gets way out of the he's done a full pirouette and he will already have got the beam there, so it's time we registered without that, but that is saying, I am not going to let you get away with it. Pearson down for 4.54, Max McRae. Well, what is it going to be? Sub 450 for McRae. Keeps it just about on. 447 flying from back. After looking so he's taken what he's taken out of that, he is taking 14%. You touched on the fact that he may well do. The next couple of cars, of course, are already descending upon this, and indeed, one of the first things we're going to see is also in that podium hunt. It is the Hyundai i20 of Matt Edwards. Matt touched the 454 himself, actually. So 454 seems to be a brilliant touch. All day long, through the last couple of left-handers, he's trying a 505 Morgan. That's people that Morgan's been in the hunt because he's going to lose 10, 11 seconds relative to those cars, and also he'll lose that sort of margin to the number 11 of the 4.52 for the second event and station. 5 seconds from max in that stage, which is not to be sniffed at, but yeah, it's a big difference. Do away with stage 4 and speak about 5 seconds lost on every stage actually, because that will be 4 stages of lost time, totaling 21 seconds gap at the front of the round. We shall wait till the end of the stage to update you on how the bottom of the hill, John Crawford and Greg Haypenny in their Rally 2 machine. That's the white one with the blue flare that I think as well. Looks neat and tidy actually. Haypenny, I reckon, did a really good job of making the notes. That was like a car that was actually which had only ever come to that. Quite a number of cars, number 21 in the Evonia. Assistant and car assistant is the beautiful car that the last Evo back to run. That's that the design one for the L2R. It was instead a built for spec car. So the Evo 6, the last true rally running road Evo, as per using a phrase back then. There's nothing that quite touches it for me. I mean, I might have a little bit of bias in there towards the Subarus rather than the Evos myself, but the blue was rolled out for some form of yellow livery, whether it's the 555 or the crest or whatever it turns out to be. For me, it's the rallying livery. It particularly stands out actually on the snow stages when you've been watching the World Rally Championship. Stop then.
Yeah, that's unfair with me. Just I've been going fastest on that stage with McRae as well as that too. How much of that time the tyres? How much is the fact your second time out the later?
Being on the front tyre, get a bit more stability in the braking and the long corners. We're actually quite surprised to be 14 faster. It's 3-4 seconds a mile, so yeah, enjoying it as well. Big crowd here today, and the rain stayed away most of the day.
You shouldn't say things like that at this time.
Yeah. Right, and then
yeah, it'll be interesting day tomorrow. It's a similar stage race again, all just different combinations of the hillside things. But interesting what you're saying, the slick tyres work better on some surfaces, not others. So it's a bit of a 50-50 decision, I guess, sometimes as to what you're going to put on the car.
yeah, rallying sort of compromising. Tyres is one of the biggest compromises you can have. Having a tyre that you want is also better than one that maybe doesn't. But you might find the wet tyre will get you through a certain stage better. So yeah, there's much more corner speed to just hold you up a bit faster, and it's much better in the braking as well. So yeah, there's not much
Where you're going to gain versus where you're going to lose, how much is that worth? And it's a bigger stage.
pretty much, yeah, it's a lot easier in tarmac than it is being maybe one car with snow and ice. You take maybe more cautions for that, but yeah,
Well, great stuff, congratulations on that. We need to get the halfway point well done, and we'll look forward to seeing you on stage again tomorrow.
thank you, see you then. A little bit extra.
And as we suspected at the start of the stage, interestingly, what we learned then is that the swing is quicker because we're doing a lot of the stuff on car. But honestly, up the top of the hill, it's actually making it just that little bit more treacherous, although no Monte Carlo. I don't think that's a comparison many people would make. Just no nice slicks. Not something I'd like to experience, that's for sure. So Chris Hoy is back out in the notably more confident than he did before on this stage layout. Now he's accelerating down through put-throughs and up over the chicane that is part of the racetrack. He'll now get stopped at the temporary one just afterwards. I don't know about you, Nick, but of the circuit, SS5 now looks like he's more settled.
Yeah. Just remember, Valiant jumped into the car, we've got to finish one. We've got
It's a great result.
Great crowd. It's just been so much fun. Only one little mistake so far, which is a bit embarrassing, but apart from that, it's been good. Oh, confess then, what was it? Sorry? Confess what was a little mistake, and well, it wasn't a little one, it was a big one. It was turn one on the third stage in front of everybody, straight out of the blocks. Cold tyres, spun it, and I couldn't get it back in the first gear, so I held up the poor guy behind me. So apologies to whoever that was, but he was standing there waiting for me to get it away.
Well, once the car was closer to you, moving closer to Dario Franchitti, you were running within a couple of seconds of each other for most of the event. Dario had a little bit of a mess up just a few yards from the finish of the last stage, but I think it's just a few seconds apart.
Well, I know that they've renamed that section just before the last...
In most cases, Franchitti, as we commented on earlier in the day, did a very good job of keeping the front axle gripped up.
Yeah, absolutely. He just keeps that two front wheels on the black stuff and uses the rear to steer around and not to mash it through. It's nice and wide away from the back. It doesn't want to grab it that anymore, I think.
That's legit. Yeah, I reckon. If you weren't with us at the start, not only did Dario have some contact that bumped in the co-driver's door, he also had so much contact that the co-driver couldn't open the door afterwards.
Yes, and that force fired once again.
Now, while you're waxing lyrical about mini headlights and expiring BMWs, just to let everyone know, in about 10 or 15 minutes time. So if you didn't manage to get your autographs from all our megastar visitors today, there's another chance to do that just in about 10 minutes time in the pit lane garages.
I recommend you start making your way to that pretty quickly, because we could already see the queue up the side of the pit lane garages, and it's not insignificant, shall we say. Kenny, you just spotted that BMW. It seems to be rolling again. The only thing I can think of being this intermittent.
Yeah, because it didn't seem to pick up and go, and then it stopped, and then it went again, and it's just pulled up once more. So yeah, it must be something electrical that's causing the problem there.
The fact that it fully grinds to a halt as well, could it? I mean, it's a relatively old BMW. It's not one of the new ones where there'll be all sorts of trip switches on every component. Is it possibly going to be They certainly do, particularly when we saw in the early parts a number of these tyres from the chicanes finding themselves not quite so attached to the rest of the tyres and chicanes anymore. There are still cars coming through to complete the time so far. Notably, I'm not sure we touched on it every time, John Crawford did on this layout. We are also seeing a pretty good improvement coming from the 33. That was Dougal Brown. Found, what was that, around about 14 seconds on this stage, so good effort from Dougal Brown. We'll skip over what we think is the timing error for the 37, although that is by far And Ronald Bjordan, their Ford Escort, this time around did a 5:32 on the previous effort, a 5:46 during stage 4. So again, another car to make strides and bounds here in stage number 5.
Yeah, so as you see, all the cars now beginning to put their lights on, so it is beginning to become a little bit overcast, not a bit dull here. So
Once we've been looking around at that rounds you up towards the penultimate and final corners, right on the tail of a Mitsubishi Evo.
Who was catching who there?
It's a great question. At the very least, in the hillside part of the stage, rather, it was Stig going through. I'm not sure what order they started in, but Stig was flying on the last couple of corners.
Fantastic. Now, I noticed that Dario Franchitti has just finished the stage. Do we have an update on the Franchitti versus Boyd?
Versus Boyd, we do need this starting Boyd has a total race time, or rally time so far of 26:47. Franchitti 27:08. So we're up towards, but not quite, 20 seconds a gap.
Right, I'll go give Dario the good news then.
Yeah, you'll love that. Yeah, but unfortunately wasn't quite quick enough to catch Chris Hoy, who was 7 seconds up the road from that if you started them at the same time. So Chris coming into his own, Dario with work to do. That 43 BMW does look like it's had it now. There's been a lot of standing around and not much bonnet opening to try and do something about it. The 59 has just whipped by it as it's been going on. That is the... They look really nice and you can quite enjoy them as long as it is driven by well.
starting up once again. Number 58 and 61 through the chicane go up the straight as we get down to the latter numbers. I don't think it's a long
does put the timer onto this BMW to try and get it working again, because when the last car goes through, that's that. And they have managed to get it rolling again. The 43, we know this is the second time we've seen it on the pit straight, because it took them a long time to previous show as well. So if they get it right, they're still very much in the rally. If it expires, then they're in trouble. Brilliant all the way through as well. I'm looking forward to seeing the juniors out onto this particular stage. The Toyota has, as you say, been released. It's now down towards the furthest point of the track as they round over the chicane. The BMW has successfully made it from the pit straight to the McIntyre and is carrying on. Fingers crossed to the stage end here. And then they've got overnight to try and fix the problem, of course.
Yes, and I like the good thing, as I said before about the rally, really just that we're mucking in and everybody just wants to get going, so they'll try and get whatever problem fixed.
Trying to find what they think might be the right piece in the back of the van, somewhere to help them when they reach it to the end of the stage. They have now peeled off onto the hillside. Fingers crossed if this is an electrical gremlin that the rubber surface doesn't shake something apart here, because it's certainly not going to help the situation. We shall wait with bated breath until we can see it again, because of course the first part of the off-road is out of our view and we can now see it. That BMW making its way up the hill.
Yes, it is, and it'll be a tight right-hander, be swinging at the rear end out, gingerly just taking it around at the corner. Didn't quite split the tail end out on that one, just off
the action. You'd have to ask what's the time penalty for going straight to stage end here rather than rally 2 car. It could be the case of us having seen lots of quicker machines